James Earl Carter graduated from Annapolis with distinction on June 5, 1946. He was 22. On that day, 78 years ago, his then-girlfriend Eleanor Rosalind Smith on the left and his mother Lillian on the right pinned his ensign labels to his Navy uniform. 1 month later, Jimmy wed Rosalind in their hometown of Plains, Georgia, and his new bride followed the newly minted ensign as he sailed all over the world. She had her hands full raising their 3 sons, Jack, born the next year in Virginia, their second son, Chip, born in Hawaii in 1950, and their third son, Jeff, born in 1952 in Groton. And that's where Midshipman Carter served on the submarine force, not far from Electric Boat, which FDR himself had toured some years earlier. The couple settled in New London, directly across the Thames River. Carter graduated from the sub-training program in December of 1948 and served on submarines fueled by diesel fuel as they patrolled the Pacific Ocean. Midshipman Carter rose in the ranks to serve as executive officer, engineering officer, and electronics repair officer. In 1949, Carter was promoted to lieutenant and served aboard the USS Pomfret. Rosalind herself snapped this photograph. The Carters returned to New London after he was selected for an elite program in Groton, working to design and develop atomic submarines, even leading a team to fix a broken nuclear reactor. It's been said New London was where Rosalind was the happiest. Carter was all set to serve as the engineering officer aboard the USS Seawolf, the nation's second atomic-powered sub, which was under construction just downriver at Electric Boat. But when his father died in July of 1953, Carter resigned his commission and returned home to Plains. He and Rosalind managed the family's farm supply business, which he expanded significantly. The next part of Carter's story is well known, becoming governor and running for president, speaking at Yale in March of 1975, campaigning outside Hartford City Hall in February of 1976, returning to Hartford in April for the state's first ever presidential primary, and twice more in October to campaign alongside Governor Ella Grasso, former Secretary of the State Gloria Schaefer, and State Treasurer Henry Parker, and returning to Groton for a visit to the General Dynamics shipyard. In January of 1977, the Carters moved into the White House with their then 9-year-old daughter, Amy. But Carter's connection to Connecticut held strong throughout his presidency. He returned to the Constitution State to campaign for the re-election of Grasso and her lieutenant governor, future Governor William O'Neill. He stood alongside Grasso and former governor turned U.S. Senator Abraham Ribicoff after signing bills providing $1 billion to help the poor pay their fuel bills, and establishing a Department of Education in 1979. The same year, he brought together Egypt's president and Israel's prime minister for their historic Middle East peace treaty, for which he won the Nobel Peace Prize. 5 years later, now private citizens, the Carters returned to Hartford for a celebration, the launch of WTIC-TV, now known as Fox 61. They were guests of honor at the Black Tie Gala celebrating the night our TV station signed on the air, September 17, 1984. Carter joined Arnold Chase, who spearheaded the building of the station, along with Governor Bill O'Neill, actor Eddie Albert of TV's Green Acres, and other luminaries. Carter returned to Connecticut several times to witness the construction and commissioning of the submarine named in his honor. The USS Jimmy Carter started construction in 1996 and was christened in 2004, the last of the Seawolf-class submarines named after the nuclear sub he served on decades earlier. And perhaps, if not for Carter's public support for the New London submarine base, it might not be what it is today. He joined those arguing to retain the base, charting how the closure would impact the entire state of Connecticut through the loss of businesses and jobs. Former U.S. Senator Chris Dodd said he believes a passionate letter Carter wrote to the commission on August 15th of 2005 saved the day and convinced officials to keep the base open. His other cause since leaving the White House, Habitat for Humanity, building more than 4,300 homes alongside his beloved. Both Rosalind and Jimmy entered hospice in 2023. She died in November at the age of 96 after 77 years of marriage, the longest marriage of any presidential couple in American history. This was the final time former President Carter was seen in public at her funeral. This year, Carter became the first former president ever to see an official White House Christmas tree ornament honoring his legacy as the 39th President of the United States. It's in the shape of an anchor reflecting Carter's service in the U.S. Navy, with doves symbolizing Carter's Nobel Prize-winning efforts at peacemaking.